take the men out of men's sports is what they're doing. I hope to God it doesn't come south.
I don't know that that's been a problem in the state of Minnesota.
It is about pushing a narrative that you want to put gender into sports. Let everybody know that we're trying to show that, hey, we're going to take the masculinity out of it a little bit. We are all Americans, and don't push that. Then you're going to have a huge problem. It's coming.
They are firing back at critics that have a problem with the Minnesota Vikings are touting what they're calling next generation cheerleaders. These are male cheerleaders, not the traditional male cheerleaders, not like a Texas A&M situation, which is very different with male cheerleaders, not the traditional male cheerleaders.
Not Ronald Reagan, not Ronald Reagan on the sideline.
The guys who would hoist up the girls in the cheerleading squad. Like actual legitimate dance team cheerleaders for the Vikings. And they are firing back at critics that have a problem with next generation cheerleaders with the Minnesota Vikings. You got some people saying across the NFL, coach, that, hey, if this happened with my team, then I would, not pay for season tickets. I don't know that that's been a problem in the state of Minnesota with Vikings fans right now with this. But what do you make of this whole movement with a next generation cheerleaders for the Minnesota Vikings?
I would like to ask the ownership of the NFL and the commissioner, what the hell are you doing? I mean, you've got the number one sport on planet Earth in terms of people watching it. Your business is growing. It's getting better and better. Now, there's some ways that you've tried to attack it over the last 10 or 15 years, but you've been able to withstand that. But if you're going to be woke, and you're going to try to take the men out of men's sports is what they're doing. They're trying to take gender and say, okay, we're going to make it more about gender than we are about masculinity. Then you're going to have a huge problem. It's coming. And again, you can see Minnesota doing it. They're one of the blue states. We've lost them. They're more about socialism and all the things that go on with that. And it's about, 150 genders. But at the end of the day, I hope to God it doesn't come south to Atlanta or to Texas or to Dallas or some of our NFL teams, because you'll lose it. I mean, people will actually quit buying tickets and going, because this is the narrative they're trying to push at. And this is not just about a couple of people being men cheerleaders. It is about pushing a narrative that you want to put gender into sports and let everybody know that we're trying to show that, hey, we're going to take the masculinity out of it a little bit. And that's not going to happen in the South.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen male cheerleaders, but it's the emphasis on it now that the league is pushing, right? Like that's the most noticeable aspect of it for me.
Yeah. And again, we've got people out there that are LGBTQ across this country, and I'm in politics now. And so you got to look at it in a different light other than a football coach. But that's fine. You got different people that believe in different things. But folks, we are all Americans, and don't push that on other people. Don't push it on our kids. Don't try to sell it as something that it's not there. There are certain places that you can do it. Just be an American. Just push the American narrative. Push sports as it's supposed to be, whether it's women's sports where women play and men's sports where men play. Not try to combine them all together. It's not going to work. And if you try to do it, you're going to cause more problems than it's going to be worth.
In about a week and a half, what is game day week one like for you for college football? We set the scene for us?
The game week, going into a game week is big for all coaches and players. You're kind of antsy getting ready to go. I know I live in Auburn. They go to Baylor the first game. It should be, everybody's looking at how's the quarterback going to be at Auburn, but everybody's got their own things that they want to look at with the team that they now have. It's just unfortunate you have to get a roster out and tell who's on the team. You don't have fourth and fifth year seniors anymore. You just got first year players. And if they're not doing very well, they already have started looking for a team that they can transfer and either make more money or be able to get on the field quicker to show people that they should be making more money. So money's involved in it now. And hey, I'm all for making money. But I'm all for them getting education and getting away with this transfer portal. start back, go back, and do like we used to. Yes, you can transfer, but if you do, you are penalized. You set out a year, and you would stop a lot of this nonsense of kids transferring every year. And I've talked to President Trump about this. I've talked to Nick Saban. I've talked to people across the country. I think the transfer portal is our biggest problem. The money is out there. I do not like the pay for play where you go out recruit with money. I don't think that's what the federal judge was all about when they made this decision. But again, we have to start making kids be accountable if they go to and want to go to another team.
When you coach, did you ever have 3 different coaches call 3 different downs plays the way Hugh Freeze explained that he's got a first down play caller, second down, and third down?
What's going on there?
I have no clue. I heard that was happening. And, Hugh Freeze fired his offensive coordinator a few years ago because he said, I want to run this offense. I don't know what's going on with it now. Sometimes you might want to do that during two-a-days and try to find out who you think could be a good play caller and give them some experience and some continuity. But there ain't no way I'd have more than one person calling plays, whether it be the head coach or the offensive coordinator. When you go in the game, you have to have somebody in the meetings. People don't realize that you have to think the same as the quarterback. The quarterback is the guy that runs the engine. And so whoever is the play caller has to be in the mind of that quarterback, and the quarterback has to understand what the play caller's thinking. So it goes hand in hand. I don't know what's going to happen here at Auburn. I don't know what Hugh's doing or whether he's going to do it during the game. I've heard this. But again, hey, it's your job. You're going to get the credit and you're going to get the blame. And I'm not going to criticize him for it because it might work. But at the end of the day, sometimes you set yourself up for a disaster if it doesn't work.
Well, and he explained that I can overrule any of the play callers at any time with a different play. And I think, well, that every head coach
I would hope
has
so.
the ability and power, you would think,
yeah,
to do that. Coach, how often would you overrule an offensive play caller in your time as head coach? Or was it simply hey, I want to run the ball here, or we should try this in this moment if you were getting into the headset of your play caller?
Yeah, if you're the head coach and you're not calling plays, obviously you're listening to every one of them. And after you see a play down and it's it's 2nd and 5, you might say run the ball. You don't tell them what play to run, but you tell them very quickly because then they've got their charts in front of them. That's the reason I always wanted my offensive coordinator in the box, away from me, to where I could tell them and they had everything in front of them. Probably if you had a series of 15 plays, I'd get involved in 3 or 4 of those, but it wouldn't be every once in a while. I'd say run our special play that we've run all week, or run a play action, but. You don't want to get involved too much because, again, you go back to one thing. There has to be continuity between that quarterback and the play caller. And you've worked on it all week long. You've been in hours of meetings and watching film. And as head coach, you're not in there like the play caller. But you do want to make sure that you put your input in, but not too much.
Question, then a side question off of this. You'll be hot on the campaign trail, I know, but will you be attending the UFC fight on the South Lawn at the White House? And what are the chances you could get Chad and myself in be among the 20 to 25,000?
That'll be a big ticket to get in. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I want to go. I tell you, this president he comes up with something different every day. But he's a marketer. He's a business guy. He understands how to sell things. And again, there's a lot of things in our country that are very, very negative. And sometimes, even as a president, with all the things you got going on with people dying and with people starving and people not making a lot of money and all those things, you want to make something positive. And this is something that I think that he could show the American people, hey, look at this. This is entertainment. And again, don't ever hold anything back from this president. He is always on top of something, and he's thinking. He sleeps about 3 hours a day, so he's got plenty of time to come up with this.
Well, we won't see any male cheerleaders there.
No, I don't think so.
No cheerleaders.
No next generation cheerleaders. No,
absolutely not.
It'll be first generation cheerleaders,
right?
And ring girls that'll be there. Yes.
Hey, congrats on the national championship. Let's say it again.
Great job.
Yeah, always great to catch up with you.
I had a big incentive to win a national championship, so I'm gonna go back and look at my contract 21 years ago.
Absolutely.
and ask for that check. It might have to be a campaign contribution, but
hey, Hugh Freeze may let you call a play while
there's no statute of limitations on a contract, so you got to go back and look at that language and see how much money you're due. Hey, thanks, Coach. Exactly. Appreciate you.
All right, guys. Thank you. See you. Talk to you soon.
Senator Tommy Tuberville. You know, my initial reaction yesterday whenever I saw this proposal from the Big Ten, this 24 to 2018 college football playoff expansion proposal, you've got to be shitting me. That's my response. Because
was it better or worse, the reaction as to when, like, the NCAA selection committee starts to tease like 120 team college basketball tournament?
It was worse.
We're going to double it up now. We're going to have 132 teams, 36 teams going.
Worse than that.
Okay.
Because at least in college basketball, I've seen the Cinderella stories play out. You know, we were on the road whenever Florida Atlantic was in the middle of their push to the Final Four. That's not going to happen by expanding the college football playoff, to 62 or to 100 teams. Take the AP top 100 and put them into a bracket. No, like I've been for expansion. I'm all for 16, but not this. And it hit me. Maybe this is exactly the reaction that they want to get out of me. Is you've got to be shitting me. Like, no, we're not going to do this, because it makes the 16-team proposal much more palatable to those who are against it right now currently. It's like you start looking around going 7 teams from the Big Ten. All of us, we were against the 4. Now they're going to 7, 5 for the Big 12 and the ACC. And the Big Ten will be hosting all of the ADs and Notre Dame, all the commissioners and then Notre Dame's AD coming up at the end of September. And that's the next big college football playoff summit, so to speak. From there, they're trying to get a deal done by December 1st, or an agreement by December 1st on where they're going to expand and how, because that's where they need to be for ESPN with the contract and the television deadline coming up. All that being said, if you're getting a little bit of pushback on the 16-team playoff expansion, which Petiti and the Big Ten are behind, you just go way over the top. They've included the SEC in the phone conversations, which has been reported, and you try to get everyone riled up over 28. Now, we don't need 28 teams, because you and I start doing exactly this. If you start looking at what the bracket would look like with the automatic qualifiers, if we go back to last year, automatic qualifiers, 7 teams from the SEC. This ends up being the SEC Big Ten Challenge, as well as sprinkled in some Big 12 and ACC schools. But Chad, the SEC, Alabama, a 9-3 Alabama would be in. Of course, we know they lost to Vanderbilt.
This bracket is hilarious.
They lost to Oklahoma, who finished 6-6. Texas A&M gets in at 8-4. Lost their final 3 SEC games, and they hadn't won a game since October. LSU finished 8-4, but they lost 3 games of their final 3 SEC games down the stretch. They 3 of their final 5, I should say, all by double digits. Those 3 losses, they lost to A&M 38-23. They lost to Alabama 42-13. They lost to Florida 27-16. That LSU team would be in this expanded bracket. Michigan is 7-5. Michigan would be in, with losses to Texas, Washington, Illinois, Oregon, and Indiana. Iowa at 8-4.
Congratulations, Sharon Moore just got a raise.
Yeah, just got a raise
for making the playoff at 7-5.
Yeah, no, they will not be taking down that banner.
That buyout went up too.
Iowa 8-4, lost to 2 teams that missed bowl games.
Well, they're
last
Iowa
year.
too.
Lost to Minnesota, Ohio State,
separate of their
UCLA.
record, it's also Iowa in the playoff, which is a problem in and of itself.
The bracket, Chad, you're right. It's laughable, but I think this is what they want to generate, because it reframes the 16-team playoff to a point where I'm sitting here going, like, just let's just get to the 16 first. Let's just expand to 16. We're in year 2 of the 12. Let's get to 16. Let's go back to what we were talking about, please, because we don't need teams like this in our college football playoff. It takes away what was so great about expanding where they did. The 12 team, we start arguing over the back end of the playoff last year was great discussion. This is like watered down week 0 stuff to me.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't get sexually aroused by Syracuse versus Arizona State in a 21-12 matchup?
Rock hard.
Or, an SEC Missouri-Ole Miss matchup in the 1914 game. That's not a game taking place in 1914 the year. That's the 19 seed versus the 14 seed.
This is one shining moment right here.
BYU versus Clemson. I'm really excited about that. Indiana-Louisville has a nice little geographic link to it that could be interesting. Army versus Alabama, the ultimate underdog story with Army in that game. Hutton, my 6-year-old daughter, likes to play store, where she has a play store.
Yes.
And, no surprise, she's in kindergarten right now. She has no concept of prices for anything.
Sure.
So when she gets home from school, she likes for me or her mom to go and get like a play item, and she's got the cash register. She can scan credit cards. She's got something that will ring it up with a barcode and makes the sound and everything.
Yep.
I usually get a bottle of water, and I give her the bottle of water, and she rings it up. And she says, okay, that'll be $85, please, for the bottle of water. I said, $85? And then her response is, oh, sorry, I read it backwards. It's $58,
actually.
And I'm thinking, that's damn genius.
Yeah.
Because even though I don't want to pay $58 for a bottle of water,
getting a deal.
It's way better than $85. Yeah. So I think what you're onto here is spot on, in that the Big Ten is basically doing what my 6-year-old daughter does with the water and saying, oh, 28, oh, I'm sorry, I got it wrong. It's actually going to be 16 now. And we're going to make more money that way by adding teams. So when your mind is at 28, you're like, God, this is ridiculous. Yep. And then they come back with 16. You think, oh, that's great. This makes a lot of sense. 16 sounds awesome. Even if 12 is really the way to go, right? Like that's where we are now with the Big Ten and this whole thing. So I typically like more playoff instead of less playoff across any sport. I like the games that matter so much and do-or-die games in football and all that. But there's a very fine line with, okay, this level of expansion is fine, but this is watering down everything. And it makes the entire regular season so much less important.
I mean, to me, this is regular season out-of-conference scheduling. The regular season matchups between these teams would be more – it would be a vital piece to a 16-team playoff resume. In the playoff itself, I mean, this is not – more is greater, and football is almighty. This is kind of boring looking at this bracket. I just like, and also what this is ESPN. So the deadline December 1st is when ESPN's contract spanning from 2026 to 2031. They can finalize this format for that contract with ESPN. This is going to be more or less a pay-per-view format for them, for their online, their direct-to-consumer app. I also believe like that's where we're setting up. Like the first 2 rounds of this bracket you're looking at, the proposal says it would be on campus. Those would also be on the app streaming. Like some would be sprinkled across of the networks, but you would have like Indiana, Louisville. That's exclusively on the direct-to-consumer ESPN app, right? Yeah. Like that's where we're headed with this. The more games we add, I'd prefer the NFL model of a playoff where you have every network involved in this. ESPN's going to get their pick of the games, and from there, Chad, it'll be good games. It was kind of watered down this past year. Like there was fatigue with. Yeah, but by the time you got to the second and third week of it, there was a lot of fatigue. And we saw that with television numbers also. And let me be fair to what I just said. Some of that is just the format they use with the automatic buys. Some teams that didn't need to get the bye did. And we were left with some matchups that were lopsided, or at least that was the anticipated result. Isn't this setting up the same thing? Well, and also, this just screams to me inventory. That's it. Yeah. It's just, here's more inventory for our television partners, and we've got these companies. Fox has one. Fox One is going to launch, where everything under the sun with Fox Network, Fox News, Fox Sports, is now going to consolidate into one direct-to-consumer app or streaming service. So
I just see there's nothing sexy about inventory. I happened to be home on a Saturday at 1 o'clock recently, and I saw World's Strongest Man competition on CBS during the middle of the day. When I see that, I think,
Mark Henry,
well,
WWE?
CBS, yeah, he wasn't on there. When I see that, I think, well, CBS has to put something on Saturday at 1 o'clock. They need inventory. So here's what they decided to put on during this time. This, to me, screams inventory, and there's nothing sexy about it when you're talking about some of these matchups. But what sells right now to an advertiser? Live sporting events. And if you can add in the intrigue of a playoff that's do or die, suddenly they're looking at it from that perspective. It's not what's best for the sport. It's not what's best for college football. It's not what's best for the players. To me, this is something that is thrown out there for two reasons. One, I think Hutton hit on. You throw out something that's ridiculous, so when you come back with something less ridiculous, you look like a genius. And two, how can we pat the backs of our network partners and our broadcast partners for these games? Well, we can provide them more inventory with meaningful games. And here's a way to do it. We can put forth a ridiculous 2018 bracket and see what they think about it.
I mean, it leaves – I'm looking at the bracket right now for the Big Ten. This would be the 7 Big Ten SEC automatic auto bids. We could see it there. It leaves as the best team left to then service the rest of the bowls, Minnesota at 8-5, followed by USC. Last year's USC team would be the second best option for the Big Ten for the bowl games. Hell, Purdue at 1-11 may get in to a bowl game if all of these teams are just going, with the especially if the first 2 games are at home. Where are they going to play the rest of the bowl games?
Yeah, I think if you did this, you're just announcing
it's Purdue.
Other than 5 bowl games, everything else is going away. Because those 1-11 teams aren't playing in a bowl game.
But
even if invited, I think a lot of them would turn it down.
But you mentioned it though. It's about inventory. See, so you would still have these bowl games on these apps, trying to get people to tune in and gamble. And watch
I just think
games.
you'd have a hard time even
it's the
finding.
most wonderful time of the year. It's football. What is it? Bowl week that goes on for 4 weeks.
Yeah, feast week.
Feast week. Yeah,
is that what it's called? Yeah,
it's
one of those. Maybe that's the Thanksgiving week of basketball tournaments and everything. But yeah, you're going to have that, and they're going to make an attempt to have bowl games. It's like everything in college sports. There is a law of diminishing returns.
Agreed.
When all of your Power 5 programs that didn't get to 6 wins are not wanting to play because they got to reset their roster. They got everybody leaving the program.
They want to recruit.
They got to go recruit. They can't get excited about the Poinsettia Bowl or wherever they're going to go.
I can't get excited right now for it.
Like that. But so then you're going to have, I'm trying to think of the program. Kent State will take the check to go play in one of these games.
Yeah.
Well, then it's Kent State versus San Jose State, and exactly 400 people are watching. So then that inventory now is less valuable in that spot than playing a college basketball game or something else during that time. Eventually, you get to a point where it does start to decline. I've talked about this with fan interest. If your roster changes year after year, you're eventually going to lose interest. By the way, our friends at SEC Shorts, the little mini videos, had a brilliant concept about the Tennessee transitional jersey with Nico leaving, where you can put your own number and name on it with corporate sponsor and everything else and take numbers off if you happen to buy a jersey of your favorite player. And that's exactly it's funny. That's comedy, but comedy reflects reality. And the reality is college football fans will eventually care less if they get treated to a product that's completely different year to year and you water it down to the point that making a bowl game means absolutely nothing, and that you're now, instead of looking at past years where you're trying to decide who's academically eligible or ineligible for a bowl game because it's a treat, now you're looking at it from the perspective of, are we even going to accept the bowl bid? And that's just a very different place to be in.
Yeah, it's like, are you going to accept the NIT bid?
Yeah, I'm not here to sound every alarm and say college football's over. But if it continues down a path that it's on right now, don't think for a second that college football can't become way less than what it is right now in the American mind.
I mean,
it can do that if you continue to mess with it too much.
Well, it's like the NFL doesn't need to go to 8 teams per conference in the playoffs. 7 is pushing it for wild card weekend, because you end up with games like 32-12 Texans over the Chargers, or a game that wasn't this close, 28-14 Ravens over the Steelers. Not very competitive. And compelling is maybe the better term to use than competitive, just compelling. It's rare that you see the lower seed. They should have kept it where they had it. Less is more in this instance. Mm-hmm. In this case, this is way over the top. So over the top that I took a breath. I was like, you know what? Maybe they want this reaction out of me. Because then I'm just going to, let's just go to 16. Let's just go to 16. They took a poll. Was it McMurphy? Who had Brett McMurphy, his poll with over 30-something thousand or 25,000 votes reported in when we took the screenshot. How many teams should the college football playoff be? 12, 44%. But I wonder how much of the 32% in response to the 16 would have voted 12 or 4 previous to knowing this. 24 or more, 6%.
Well, and if this is like a good cross-section of college football fans, what this tells me is 16 will be fine. Because it's close enough to people. It's not going to be a huge outrage if that happens.
We always expected 16, though, right?
Yeah.
We think it's headed there. How soon can you get the Big 12 and the ACC without giving all this pushback to it? You can with this, Anyway.
Well, the way it's currently formatted,
bring on 16.
The way it's currently formatted with the automatic bids and the automatic buy and all of that stuff from last year, you still reach the point where the product is not great in the playoff because Boise State, right, as an example, SMU, Arizona State to an extent. You look at it and it's not – Hutton, your analogy to the NFL playoffs, you get some games that aren't so competitive or compelling at times when you start to mix – all of that. So
I think so.
I think this solution is pretty simple. Move it to 16. You're going to appease your broadcast partners that way. It's not going to be some radical move that's going to upset the apple cart of college football fandom everywhere. And then it's a good meet-in-the-middle situation where, Hutton, as you said, it's not 28, so it doesn't look ridiculous. It's just 4 more than they're already playing with right now.
We kept the Big Ten from doing what they wanted to do.
You get probably 10 more teams that are interested later in the year.
Yeah.
Right? You get more teams that are right there saying, we have a chance on that selection day of being team number 15 or 16. And that's never a bad thing.
Yeah, it increases the fervor, the discussion of Miami or South Carolina.
Yep.
Right? Or what was it, Missouri and Colorado last year. I can deal with that.
Illinois was a team in the mix.
That's just like a tad bit beneath what we were discussing last year, which was Alabama and those teams. That's okay. But if we're really going to be debating like Memphis against whoever's on this list, that no, we don't need that. We don't need Memphis LSU discussion.
Well, and we love
last year.
We love a snub. I mean, we do.
Sure.
We love a chip on our shoulder and being felt like the team that was disrespected by a committee that's choosing something. Hell, if people don't think we're going to get excited about who's number 15, 16, 17, 18 in college football, I present to you the NCAA basketball tournament where we give a shit about 68, 69, 70, and 71 in the country. And that's what we follow for the last month of the season is the bubble. Bubble watch is a real thing for a reason because we care about it. And we love it. And it's all about just making the tournament for those teams. And when that bubble bursts, it's a big deal to those programs and those fans. So I think that would be a positive for the sport.
We'll learn more coming up in September. It's September 24th is when the Big Ten will host at their headquarters the negotiations with the 10 FBS commissioners and then Notre Dame. So get ready for 16.
Maybe our next guest will be there covering.
Trey Wallace, he's got all things covered for college football for OutKick. He's in studio with us next here on Hot Mic.